Hello and welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me today and pushing play on today's episode. For episode 98, I am so excited to share with you a book that I recently finished. It is called Mindset by Dr. Carol S. Dweck. And to be honest, this book has been on my Amazon wish list for probably years, and I never really made it a priority because I thought I knew what it was all about. I thought I knew, okay, it's about growth mindset, fixed mindset. I get it. I don't really need to read the book. It might be fun someday, but it wasn't, I had no urgency around reading this book. However, there was one day a couple months ago that I was just not feeling great emotionally and mentally. And I decided to go on a walk to get some blood flowing, to clear my head. And I went past a little free library that's in my neighborhood. And I was actually drawn in by another book. I saw an author name that I'm familiar with. And so I was drawn in by that book. But tucked in the back corner was this copy of Mindset. And it just kind of called to me. So I snagged it and I brought it home. And as soon as I finished the book that I was reading at the time, I dove into this one and I was so surprised by what I didn't know about mindsets, the fixed and the growth mindset, and some of the big differences between. Now, I've always kind of thought that I had a growth mindset. I kind of thought it was a one a like you have the growth mindset or you have the fixed mindset, and that's it. That's done. And I thought I've got a growth mindset because I know that you can always learn more, you can always grow more. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for development. I didn't realize that you can have growth mindsets about some things and a fixed mindset about some things, and how you view those areas of your life kind of dictate your actions and your behavior and thus your results. So, really, it should have been higher on my priority list of books to read. It wasn't, but by the grace of God, it fell into my lap and I got it just when I needed it, I think. So, I'm going to share some highlights with you today and some really impactful quotes, but I encourage you to go read it yourself. And there's the first section, it's kind of broken up into sections. The first section tells you all about growth mindset and fixed mindset and the key differences between the two. And then it gets into the mindsets and how they play out in different arenas of life, like parenting or sports or business and things like that. Those sections I found a little dry and they weren't as engaging, but that first section is a must read. And I really encourage you to, even if you don't read the whole book, read that first section and really evaluate where in your life you have a growth mindset and where in your life you have a fixed mindset, so that you can make a conscious choice to make changes in how you view what you're doing, how you view what you're creating, whatever it is, because this mindset that you go into these areas of life with determines so much. So let's jump into one of the first quotes that I underlined in here, and it talks about, or she says, the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. So she says, believing that your qualities are carved in stone is the fixed mindset. It creates an urgency to prove yourself over and over and over again. So the fixed mindset is a belief that your qualities are carved in stone. You are as smart as you're ever going to be. You're as charismatic as you're ever going to be. You're as organized as you're ever going to be. This is who you are. It does not change. So that's that. The end. That is the fixed mindset. The growth mindset, on the other hand, is based on a belief that your basic qualities are things that you can cultivate through your efforts. So, although you have initial talents and aptitudes, interests, and temperaments, everyone can change and grow through application and experience. So, with the growth mindset, it's like, okay, well, this is as smart as I am right now. However, I can always become smarter. This is as organized as I am right now, but I can always be more organized. So you can kind of tell with just this very first introduction to fixed mindset and growth mindset how this dictates your behavior. Because if this is as organized as you're ever going to get, then you're never going to try to be more organized. If this is as smart as you're ever going to be, you're never going to try to become more smart or smarter. You're never going to try to become smarter. If you believe that you can become better, you will find the resources, put in the work, put in the effort to become better. Now, here's where it gets a little scary. And I actually wrote in the margin of the book, I wrote yikes next to this because it freaked me out a little bit. Let's see if it freaks you out. So she says, in other words, when it comes, so this is in regards to the fixed mindset. Risk and effort are two things that might reveal your inadequacies and show that you are not up to the task. In fact, it's startling to see the degree to which people with the fixed mindset do not believe in effort. So if you think about the fixed mindset being this is where you're at, you're carved in stone, no growth possible, putting in any sort of effort or risk gives you the opportunity to show others that you are deficient. And since you are carved in stone, you are just deficient. Like you're just not good enough. And that's that. And so you never want to show other people that. You never want to put in the work. You never want to put in the effort because that just indicates that you aren't good enough. However, when you have a growth mindset, you view that very differently. Instead of being that you aren't good enough, it's like, okay, well, I'm not great right now. However, with effort, with work, I can become great. It's not attaching to your identity as a human being, because these traits and these qualities aren't permanent. They're not fixed. You know you can grow, you know you can develop. However, in the fixed mindset, they're fixed. It's part of who you are. And if you're found lacking, then you're found lacking, and that just sucks for you. It's all a perspective though. It's all a perspective in how you view yourself, how you view the situation, how you view your goals, and you can change how you view it. I have a quote that I wrote down probably a couple of years ago that I didn't write down where I read it. It's literally scrawled on a scrap of paper, and it says, how you view a situation determines what's possible for you. That falls into this beautifully, because if I view a situation as done, fixed, carved in stone, then there's not a whole lot of possibilities. There's not a whole lot of options because it's already done. It's fixed. It's carved in stone. It's permanent. But if I view a situation as, okay, there's limitless possibilities, there's limitless solutions, then that opens up my brain to look for solutions, to look for possibilities, to start getting curious, to start asking questions, to start doing research. If it's fixed in stone, I'm not going to do research. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm not going to look for other things because it's done. As an individual, you are not done. There is no done. There's always room for growth. And as we look at kids, as we look at kids learning to read, learning to walk, learning how to do math. We can see in them that they have so much room to grow. And when they get frustrated and they say, I can't do it. And you just say, well, you got to keep trying. You got to keep at it. It's easy as a person on the outside to encourage these little ones because we know that they have so much potential. We know that they can do it. They just haven't put in the work yet. My girls often ask me, they're like, Mom, how is your handwriting so pretty? And I'm like, well, I've been doing this for like 30 years. So it ought to be pretty. I mean, I've put in the work. It's like, once you've done it for 30 years, your handwriting will be pretty too. And I tell them it'll be pretty way before then. You just have to put in the work. You've only been writing your letters for a year. So, I mean, come on. Of course, your A is a little wonky. We see that as adults in children. It's so much more difficult sometimes to step back and see ourselves as maybe the child in a situation of learning and growing and accepting, okay, I'm not good at that right now. And I have the ability to put in the effort, to put in the work, to grow and to become. Yeah, that feels good. Okay. I want to include one last quote from the book that I just loved. She said, in short, when people believe in fixed traits, they are always in danger of being measured by a failure. It can define them in a permanent way. Smart or talented as they may be, this mindset seems to rob them of their coping resources. When people believe their basic qualities can be developed, failures may still hurt, but failures don't define them. If abilities can be expanded, if change and growth are possible, then there are still many paths to success. I feel like this quote really highlights the big difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and how having those perspectives can change your behavior. So while you may have a fixed mindset in one area, growth mindsets in other areas, you get to choose which mindset you take on, which mindset you adopt. In part of the research for this book, they took kids through a series of tests and puzzles and things like that. And beforehand, before they went through these series of tests and puzzles, they would instill on them the fixed mindset or the growth mindset. Now, it was a temporary situation, right? Like, you can change your mind for a moment, but if you don't sustain it, right, it's not going to last. So they put the kids in these fixed or growth mindsets and then measured their success and their behavior and how the kids felt about themselves and their progress. So the kids with the growth mindsets were really excited about challenges. They were excited about the puzzles. They experienced frustration, but they kept at it for a lot longer than the kids that were given the fixed mindset. For example, one of them was an unsolvable puzzle. The kids were given a puzzle that literally could not be solved. And the growth mindset kids, they tried so much longer than the fixed mindset kids. And this is incredible, right? It's incredible to know that we can put ourselves in these perspectives, that we can help nurture these perspectives in other people. Since I read this book, I have been so much more mindful about how I praise my girls in regards to their schoolwork and in regards to the things that they try. I I praise their effort way more than I praise their actual scores, because it's like you got a great grade on this. You put in so much work to get this. You put in so much effort to get this. And my oldest is in fifth grade, and they are really focused in at the school on fixed mindsets versus growth mindset and effort, putting in the effort. And at a parent teacher conference, her teacher even told me, she's like, look, I don't really care if the kids get it right or wrong. That doesn't really matter. What matters is that I can see the work that they put into it. Because at the end of the day, if you're willing to keep at a problem, and look for solutions and find resources and ask for help, you're going to get there. You're going to get there no matter if you're not there yet. It doesn't even matter if you're there yet. It's all about the effort and the work going into it. So I love that for them. And I love the growth and the changes that I've even seen in my older daughter. Whereas last year, she would never bring home extra work. It was like, no, I am bare minimum. If I'm only doing what's required, if it's not required, I'm not doing it. And this year, she's bringing home extra work. She wants to put in the extra effort. She wants to go the extra mile. And that's so exciting. It's so exciting to see that growth in her and to see her believe that she can develop, that she can grow, that she can learn more, and that where she's at right now is not where she's always going to be, because of course that's not even true. So at the back of this book, there's a nice little chart that highlights the difference between growth mindsets and fixed mindsets. Well, I'm not going to go through everything on the podcast today. I encourage you to maybe search on the internet or on Pinterest for a chart that's like growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And you will find a lot of different charts that highlight the differences between the two. If you're not going to read the book, seriously, I encourage you to at least go find a chart that you find aesthetically pleasing and print it out and refer to it. And when you find yourself getting stuck or feeling judged or feeling down on yourself, reflect on this chart and where you're at. Have you put yourself in this fixed mindset where any sort of setback or failure is now defining you, is now making it so that you are not good enough? Or can you and can you put yourself in a growth mindset? Be like, okay, this was information. I can become better. I can grow. I can learn. I can still get there. There are many paths to success because I am a being who can grow and develop and learn more. So that's what I've got for you today. This was a great book, a great read, super important if you have littles, really, truly, to help instill in them that growth mindset while they're young so that it can serve them for the rest of their life and so that they can always have that, innate belief in themselves that they can become, that they are not already there. If you haven't already arrived, that's not the end. You can always become. That's what I've got for you. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you. I send you my love. Until next time. Bye for now.